Hey guys, it's time to get started. So grab your Pilates ring and let's get sweating together. We're going to start with a squat today. So we're going to begin with a closed parallel position with our feet and knees. And you're going to take that ring between your hands. Take the ring up and overhead with a good bend to your elbows. That's going to allow you to settle into the middle back. And then we're going to exhale as we crease at the hips and lower into a squat, keeping our ribs in line with your pelvis. Then inhale as you rise all the way up, equal weight across the soles of the feet. Exhale, lengthening back, imagining you're sitting in a chair behind you. So rather than dropping straight down, we want to lengthen back at a diagonal. It's an exhale, narrowing the ribs around the spine as you narrow in on that ring just a little bit as you lower. Inhale, lengthening tailbone from crown of head to rise all the way up. I noticed that when I do squats, I used to really see a lot of gripping, and I felt a lot of gripping on the tops of my feet. And my mentor taught me that I just wasn't trusting my glutes in the process. So we want to find that connection not only to the forefoot, but also trust some of your body weight through the heels, balancing the weight through the soles of the feet. And that's going to help you to release that gripping sensation on the tops of the ankles and the feet and allow your glutes to participate even more in the party. And the breath pattern we're doing is what gets that core really active. So we exhale to crease down, inhale to bring it up. We're going to do one more and change things up. Exhale as you crease and lower, hold this one down. Check that your knees are just in front of your ankles, and then Jess and I are going to take the ring and place it right at the base of the ribs, horizontally, holding that low squat. Make sure you have a long, low back and your outer thighs are magnetized. Now we're going to inhale as we rotate to the right, rotating the ribs, thinking about that ring swiveling to the right. That's an inhale. Exhale as you narrow through the center. And then you're going to inhale and rotate the ribs to the left. So it's really going to open up the spine and activate through the waistline. So at your own pace, using your breath as your guide, inhale as you rotate one side, exhale through the middle, and then inhale, rotate through the other. You'll feel the waistline really activating straight away, and you'll feel the burn happening through your peach and your legs as we hold that squat. You can even challenge yourself to get a little bit lower. And if you're looking for a sincere balance challenge, as you rotate to the right, peel just your right heel off the floor. And then you can melt the heel down. And then as you rotate to the left heel picks up. And so she's keeping both of her feet flat. So if that felt wobbly to you, you can keep both of your feet down the whole time. Inhale as you rotate, exhale back through center. Let's do one more each side. Inhale as we rotate to the right, keeping the pelvis quiet. Exhale through center, last one to the left. Inhale as we rotate, exhale, both feet are flat, and we're gonna inhale to rise all the way up. All right, let's go into our standing lunge, and I'm gonna offer that ring to go right under the ball of the right foot. So it's a little bit of a balance challenge straight away. Take a second to get yourself set up, and then you're gonna wanna glue your eyes to something ahead of you. If you need a chair or a counter to balance you, that works too. Let's take our hands on hips, left foot is flat, and then we're gonna exhale, soften that left knee. Inhale as you bring it back up to standing. We're gonna pause at the top, and then we're gonna send that ring downbound just a little bit, and then release it with control, and bend that left knee, and then inhale to rise up, and then we're gonna send that ring downbound a little bit, bring it up with control. So you're gonna pattern through that where you've got the standing leg bending and then you've got the ring going down, but really resist that recoil as that ring wants to rise back up. Resist it coming back up, and that's how you're gonna find that opposite waistline connection, stabilizing the core, stabilizing the pelvis. Exhaling down, inhaling to come up. So I'm gonna go check out what Jess is doing over here. You can see that she's doing a great job of keeping that knee aligned over the big toe, second toe. I'm gonna shift her hips forward a bit to get that alignment together. Think about that right knee aligning big toe, second toe, not allowing it to float out just because we're so concerned with that ring. And always feel free to grab onto something close by if you need a little balance support. How's that feeling up there? A little bit shaky, a little bit shaky. Let's hold the next one with the left knee bent. Hold the next one with the left knee bent just a little bit, doesn't have to be all the way down. And then we're going to do a little pulse, sending that ring down and controlling it back up. You want to think about a lowering, activating from under your glam line, right under your glam and your glutes and your hamstrings. And then we're going to absorb it back up. Good. Beautiful job. Just a few more here. Exhaling as we do that little motion down. Inhaling as we bring it up. Let's do that for one more. And go ahead and allow the ring to come up, come to upright, and take out. We're gonna go into our mermaid on our left hip. So go ahead and take your ring with you, and we're gonna lower onto our mat. We're seated on our left hip with the right knee bent behind us. Your ring is gonna be used kind of as a spacer and to make sure that we're not dumping into the floor here. So take your right arm up and out, and then we're gonna inhale as we lift and we arc. So you wanna feel some down pressure on that ring, but not a whole lot. Exhale as we lower with control. Inhale, think about your breath and your torso elevating you up as you do that beautiful side bend. Exhale as you lower back down. So keep working. If you feel like it's really tough for you to reach the floor with that left hip, you can always prop yourself up with a yoga block under your left hip, or if you don't have a yoga block, even like a little stack of books. Just get yourself elevated, a pillow, anything that you need to do to get yourself close to the position that we're after and gaining strength and gaining flexibility as we work. We inhale to arc, think about length and lift. Exhale as we control that movement down. Let's go for 3 more here. We're gonna go into some sideline work with the ring next. This is 2. And this is gonna be our last one. Opening the front side of the hips and bring it all the way down. All right, so Jess and I are gonna show different modifications. Jess is gonna put her ring between her ankles. I'm gonna do mine right between the inner thighs. So we're demonstrating the difference between a short lever and a long lever. So we're gonna come all the way down onto our left side, and we're gonna have our legs all the way long to start with. So you can see that we have our bottom leg hovered off of the mat. Our head is resting on our left biceps. And we're gonna really reach that top hip away from our ribs. So you'll notice that we find lots of length all sides of the waistline. Maintaining that length, now we're gonna do a reach, almost as if we're trying to reach our toes through the wall and beyond it. That's an inhale, and exhale to lower. It's a small range of movement. Inhale as you lengthen and reach, exhale to lower. So you can try either ring position, maybe try it in the thighs one day and in the ankles the next day, and you can just check out that difference. So the shorter lever, the demonstration that I'm doing, it's more about a deeper connection to the core because you're really close to your core, so you can't kind of cheat and go into the limbs. So you're really feeling the core doing the lift. And Jess's challenge is that it's really hard to stay organized with that ring all the way at the ankles. And it also closes that kinetic energy chain, really keeping you connected to the midline of the body. Let's go for one more like this, and then we're gonna bend at the knees, whether you have the ring at the ankles or the knees. All right, hold this one here, and then we're gonna fold the knees and the feet reach behind us. Ooh, it gets really wobbly, really fast. All right, once you've got that, you wanna give it a quick glance. Make sure your knees are in line with your hips. And then from here, we are going to narrow in on the ring and then allow it to slowly release. So rather than thinking about your ankles or your knees coming together, I'd like you to focus instead on the tops of the inner thighs, the very tops of the inner thighs, almost like a pair of tweezers, narrowing on the ring with control in both directions, narrowing down and then releasing up, narrowing down. Trying to keep your legs organized and parallel, keeping the top hip reaching away from the top ribs. Let's go for 3 more here. We're gonna go into a leg lift with our knees bent in 2. And this is gonna be our last one. Go back to the start position. We're gonna reach that right hip away from the ribs again, reset that intention. And just like we started, we're gonna do a little leg reach and lower back down. Leg reach, it's like your knees now are reaching through the wall and beyond it rather than your toes. Inhale as you lengthen and reach. Exhale, bring it back. 4 more like this. Find that length, find the change of that challenge as we go into that shortened lever. I'm sure you're feeling that core kick on in a major way. Last two, we're gonna flip onto our backs. And last one, allow the legs to lower all the way down. Remove the ring and we're gonna flip onto our backs. We're gonna go into a crisscross with the ring on our left thigh. So to set it up, lay down on your back. The ring goes onto your left thigh and your left hand goes onto the ring. Your right hand comes behind your head and you're gonna pick up into a little bit of an abdominal curl, keeping a neutral pelvis and a long front body. And then we're gonna float the right leg up into tabletop as well. All right, here we go. As we inhale, we're gonna rotate, peel the right shoulder blade up and off the floor as the right leg extends. Exhale, bring it back in to start. Inhale as you rotate, reach and lengthen. Exhale as you bring it back in. Jess is gonna show us next with her legs just holding steady. Both legs are gonna be staying in that tabletop position. And that's another way that you can achieve this same waistline focus. If you have a sensitive low back, that might be a good choice for you not to extend the legs. So pay attention to your body and what works best for you today. Either way, we want to find some connection, activating through the middle back, the shoulder, and the arm on that left side as well. So we've got some tension on that ring. It's not just there for funsies. Let's go for two more. Inhaling as we lengthen. Exhale as we bring it back. This is our last one. We're going to hold and breathe because we can. Find a heavy tailbone in the mat, lengthening and reaching for 3, for 2, and go ahead and bring the body back through center and lower the feet down to the mat. And you're gonna grab that ring, take it with us. We're gonna go into a teaser. So we're gonna use that ring to assist us in our teaser pose and help us find the knees and the toes in proper alignment. So we're gonna use that ring as a spacer, basically. We're not gonna wanna rest our weight into it at all. We're gonna hold it as a spacer. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable for you or your balance, or this is a challenging pose, you can always keep your hands down, and Jess is gonna demonstrate that for us. The next phase would be to try one or both hands behind your thighs, and this is gonna help you to find a deep activation behind your thighs. And Jess can show us even with one hand behind a thigh and one hand on the ground to give you kind of a graduated step to achieve this. So you can see that I'm shaking. I hope that you are on your end as well. And then a final stage would be to bring one or both arms up and out. So you can choose what works best for your body. And we're just doing an isometric hold here today. And we're lengthening and breathing, lifting off of the pelvis so you have a shallow curve to the spine. Whew. Breathing and lengthening. You can take the hands back down at any time. Really sink those thigh bones heavily into the domes of the pelvis. Breathe and lengthen. Finding that lift and that length on the front body, even in a teaser pose. And let's go for 3, 2, and allow that ring to come out. We're gonna go into our bridges here, and we're gonna take that ring up around the thighs. So take the ring up around your thighs. We're gonna lay all the way down. We're gonna go into a little bridge sequence. So the arms come long into the mat, the feet are parallel, and straight away we're gonna float all the way up into a long bridge position. You wanna find openness on the front side of your hips, your knees reaching nice and long, arms active in the mat, and then from here we're going to do little marches, peeling one heel up at a time. So we're gonna pick up the right heel, think about that right inner thigh spiraling out into the ring, and then imprint that heel all the way back down. And then we're gonna pick up the left heel and we're gonna melt that down. So you're gonna do that alternating at your own pace. It's an inhale breath to pick up and exhale to set it down. And you wanna think about recruiting your glutes to allow your pelvis to be elevated the whole time. We don't wanna start melting and sinking down. You wanna keep that up and active the whole time. Additional challenge, you can bring one or both hands up towards the sky. So that's gonna give you less support through the middle back. If you keep your arms down, make sure they are actively imprinting into the mat to help you elevate and activate through that middle back and the core as we fire through the glutes and hamstrings. Last layer of challenge here, you can pick up both heels. Jess is gonna keep articulating through one heel at a time, but if you're looking for additional challenge, you can pick up both heels as the knees reach long, and then we melt them back down with intention through the floor. All 10 toes are in the mat. You may notice that the pinky toes kind of want to really pick up a lot of the weight through the feet because you have the ring, but we want to make sure we have big toe, second toe connected, as well as the rest of the toes. Reach those knees through the wall in front of you, lengthening the spine. Let's go for 2 more here. Even your heels out if you've done them one at a time. Both heels go down, and we're gonna melt from behind our heart, lengthening and lowering down the hips. And then we unwind. We're gonna stay on the mat, but come onto your forearms, and we're gonna go into some tocks here. So we have our hands down on the mat. We're gonna lift up and off of the shoulders and get our head in line with the spine, a gentle nod to the chin. First thing we're gonna do is float the legs up into tabletop. And then if it is accessible to you, we're gonna lengthen the legs out into a diagonal. From here, we're going to slide the legs over to the left of the mat and lower down, a little tap of the ring, pick them up, and then we're gonna do a little tap of the ring to the right. So we're gonna do side to side of the mat. I'm gonna come over and work with Jess. So you can see that she's holding the pelvis really nice and steady. She's finding a lot of lift out of the shoulders, and we can even lengthen the crown of head longer. Did you see that stretch and that reach? Beautiful. And she's got the legs staying nice and organized. Now, if this doesn't feel great in your back or if it feels aggressive to your body, will you show us with knees bent? So the same range of movement, just how we started the setup, and then we're moving through the exercise, and you're actually getting really intense core work because, again, we've shortened that lever like we did with the ring on our side. And so it's not like this is making it easy, right? We're never gonna make it easy for you. It's just gonna be a change of focus while we're still accessing the same initiation through the body. Good, beautiful. And let's go to the last one on the right. Go ahead and come through center and allow the feet to lower down. And now we're gonna go into our crisscross on the right. So we're gonna take that ring with us and lay down on our backs. And the ring is going to go on the right thigh with our right hand. That can float up into a tabletop position. And then we're gonna take the left hand under the base of the skull. We're gonna go into a shallow abdominal curl and allow the left leg to float up with us. Here we go. We're gonna inhale as we peel that left shoulder blade up and rotate, left leg extends. That's an inhale breath. Exhale as you bring it back through center. Inhale as we lengthen and reach, keeping the pelvis quiet, making sure we don't mash the low back down onto the mat. And exhale as we rotate back through the center position. So we're really finding that activation through the right triceps and through the quads of the right leg as well, as we're holding that ring in place and finding that beautiful waistline effort and inner thigh connection as we take that left leg out. Jess is gonna show us a few keeping both legs in tabletop. So that's always a good modifier if this is feeling aggressive to your back or to your body in general. Today we can still get that beautiful rotation and that core focus, as well as that activation through the ring. Let's go for 2 more here. Inhaling as we rotate. Exhale, bring it back. This is the last one. And allow the body to center, lower the feet down to the mat. We're gonna do that sideline series on our right side. So again, I'm gonna show it with a shortened lever, and Jess is gonna demonstrate with a longer lever. So the ring can go in between your ankles or in between your thighs. Right arm goes all the way down, and we're gonna stack our bodies so that we are on a nice, beautiful line like we're a pencil. And then we're gonna extend the legs all the way out. Keeping that top hip reaching away from the top ribs, we're gonna lengthen and reach as if our toes could go through the wall and beyond. Woo. Inhale as we lengthen, exhale as we bring it back. The reason I have my left hand in front of me is to help me stay organized. So oftentimes we wanna get kind of fancy and we'll wanna do something like this, and then we're gonna fall right over. So it's not about making it look fancy, we wanna make it really active and really functional. So we wanna inhale as we lengthen and reach, exhale as we bring it back. Last 2, and then we're gonna fold the legs. Inhale and reach, hold. We're gonna fold the legs behind us. Check that your knees are in line with your hips. They probably wanted to creep forward. So allow the knees to get in line with the hips. Lengthen that top hip away from the ribs. And now we're gonna narrow on the ring, keeping the legs parallel. Inhale as we lengthen and narrow. I like to think about now my knees reaching through that wall and the top hip lengthening away from the top ribs. Narrowing via the top of the upper inner thighs rather than via the knees or the ankles. Really get that activation and that energy closer to the core rather than away from the core. It's where you'll get more results in less time. Last 3. We're gonna go for that leg lift, double leg lift, now with the knees bent. After this last one, hold. All right, now we're gonna lengthen and reach and lower back down with control. Lengthen and reach. Again, it's like those knees are reaching through and beyond the wall at the other side of the room, making sure that we only lift the legs enough so that our ribs don't drop. We don't want our bottom ribs to drop onto the mat. Inhale as we lengthen and reach. Exhale as we lower. Let's go for 3 more here. Last 2. And this is our last one. Bring the legs all the way down. We're gonna rise onto our right hip with our left knee bent behind us, and that ring goes onto the mat under our right hand. From here, we're going to take the left arm out, and then on that inhale breath, we rise up and we arc to this side. And then we exhale and we decelerate and lower down. Try not to just kind of drop down and pop up. Think about a lift and an intentional arc. That's an inhale breath. And think about decelerating, slowly lowering your hip back to the floor. Again, if you need a yoga block or a pillow or a little stack of books under your right hip to reach the floor, that works just fine. Do what works for your body. And every side of the body is different. So if you need support on one hip but not the other, go for that. Don't worry about matching everything exactly. Inhale as we arc and lengthen, opening the front side of the hips. Exhale as we lower down. Let's go for 4 more here. We have some tension on the ring, but we're not allowing it to smash or collapse below our hand. Inhale as you arc. Exhaling as we lower. Last 2. We're gonna do our standing lunge with the ring under our left foot next. Inhale up and over. And exhale as you lower all the way down. All right, we're gonna stand up with that ring and go into our standing lunge. This time it goes under the left foot. So you have your right foot flat on the mat, left foot, the arch goes onto that ring. Take a second to find your balance. Make sure you are stacked, your head, shoulders, hips, and that standing ankle. And then we're gonna exhale as we soften that standing leg. Inhale as you grow with length, the inner thigh comes up at the crown of the head, and then the left leg, the left glutes, woo, it's wobbly, sends that ring down and bring it back up. So it's a small bend through the standing leg, and then an inhale breath, and then we're sending that ring down, and slowly releasing it back to start. Exhale. Inhale as you lengthen up. Try to keep that ring pretty quiet when that standing leg is doing the bending. Inhale, bring it up. Decelerating in both directions. So we never just want to kind of phone in the movement. We want to keep it all controlled. Nice and long, lots of oppositional tension the whole time. Let's hold this next one where we have our right knee bent just a little bit. Glue your eyes to something ahead of you. And then we're going to send that ring down and bring it back up. Send that ring down, slowly control it back up. Lengthening through the back side of the leg, lengthening crown of head away from the ground. Let's go for 2 more. This is our last one. And now we're gonna take the ring with us and we're gonna go onto the mat on our backs. So we're gonna explore the lateral line and the medial line. So that's a fancy Pilates way of saying the inner line and the outer line of the body. Take the ring around the outer line, the lateral line, and we're gonna lay all the way down onto our backs. Hands go underneath the base of the skull. and we're going to pick up with length. So it's like you're tractioning your spine and your neck to pick up your head, neck, and shoulder blades off of the mat, but you want to keep your tailbone heavy and some space for the natural curve of your low back on the mat. Here we go. On the exhale breath, we're going to float the legs up into a tabletop position and feel the thigh bone sink heavily into the pelvis. Do you feel the outer line of the body really activate to hold that ring into place? So that's what we're after here, finding that emphasis on the outer line of the body. We're going to inhale and extend the legs without moving the pelvis or the low back. Exhale as we absorb it back in to start. So you can think about the inner thighs spiraling out into the ring. Even though they're not touching the ring, you can still find that activation for proper alignment and intention. Jess is going to show the next few only extending her legs just a little bit, so you can see that you don't need to do the full range of movement to get the same focus. You can still feel that activation through the lateral line of the body, even without doing a full extension. If that doesn't feel great to you today, let's go for 2 more. And I have good news, we're doing more of these, we're just changing the ring. Exhale, bring it in. You can set your head down for just a moment, and we're going to take that ring and place it in between the ankles now. So the ring goes in between the ankles. Now we're focused on the medial or center line of the body. Hands go underneath the base of the skull again, finding your neutral pelvis and your shallow abdominal curl. And then we're going to inhale, legs extend. Exhale as we bring it back to start. Inhale as we lengthen and reach. Exhale as you bring it back to start. So you probably feel a really intense shift of the focus. So now we're talking about those inner thighs, pelvic floor, low belly as we work. We're inhaling to extend, exhaling to bring it out. And you can see Jess is staying really nice and organized here, maintaining lots of length through the torso. She hasn't added a bunch of wrinkles to her shirt by coming up too high into that curl. Beautiful. We're going to go for 3 more. We're not going to go all the way out, right? So you can do this middle range of movement, and that's going to give you a nice modifier for this last one. Let's go all the way out because she really wants to. Inhale as you reach all the way out. We're going to hold and breathe for 3, for 2, and exhale, bring it all the way back in. Feet go down to the mat. Beautiful job. All right, we're going to keep the ring in between our ankles, but we're going to go into a downward facing dog squat sequence. So we're going to take that ring. Come onto your feet for just a moment. Take that ring between the ankles. We can kind of do almost like a Pilates push-up, a little step out so our hands can come up and overhead. And then we're gonna roll down to get our hands to the mat, bend your knees as needed. And we're just gonna walk our hands out into our best plank to set it up. And then we're going to inhale, lengthening back, melting the heels back and down, shifting the shoulders back, and you wanna look back at that ring or your toes. So we have a nice long line in the body, yeah? Now keeping our pelvis high, we're gonna bend the knees and then we're gonna extend. So it should feel like really nice activation and lengthening effort through the back side of the body. Try to keep your ankles quiet and try to keep your pelvis quiet. So this is really activating and moving between the ends of your legs, right? So we're not just trying to drop into this position, we're trying to find length. Exhaling as we bend, pushing away from the mat, broadening the shoulders, looking back at the ring the whole time. Thinking about the pelvis being lifted up and back as if there was a hammock under your hips, dragging you up and back the whole time, not allowing you to drop at all. We stretch next, guys. This is our home stretch, the last exercise. Let's go for 3 more. Inhaling as the legs extend. Exhaling as we soften the knees. Broaden those collarbones, look back at that ring. This is the last one. Hold the legs long and go ahead and lower down to your knees. All right, let's get into our stretching. We made it. We're gonna take that ring and bring it around the arch or ball of your left foot, and we have our right leg folded forward. So we're just gonna have a nice seated stretch, and this ring allows us to add that traction and kind of draw the ball of the foot towards us, stretching more deeply through the back line of the left leg. If you'd like to, you can arc over. Just take a really nice stretch here. And then we're gonna rise up. We're gonna take both feet into that ring. So I'm not a particularly flexible human being, and so it's nicer for me to get this beautiful kind of seated L-shaped stretch rather than really fighting to reach my toes the whole time. And it just helps me to feel more open while I still get a really nice stretch through the back side of the body. So you can even bend the knees a little bit, kind of explore in your own body what feels good for you and how you get a nice stretch without twinging or any kind of forcing to it, right? You want to find an ease to the effort. If you happen to be a lot more flexible than this, go ahead and pull all the way forward. Do whatever works for you and your body. Nice deep breaths here. Go ahead and come on up, and let's take that ring onto our right foot. The left leg folds in. And stay upright if that feels best for you, or if you're looking for some stretch through the side body, you can arc up and over. And go ahead and come on up. You did it again. Thanks so much for working out with us. We'll see you next time.